Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040, bringing to another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. And March 28th, 1999 marks 25 years ago that history was made at WrestleMania 15 when Triple H shocked the entire world when he betrayed DX and joined Vince McMahon's corporation and began his long journey to not only become the game but become the biggest heel in the wrestling business. And for today's edition, I am going to be discussing the success and failures of Triple H's heel run from March 1999 to May 2001. So, ever since the night after WrestleMania 14, when Triple H reformed DX with himself as the new leader and added X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws to the faction. DX were one of the hottest acts in the company and were a huge part of the ratings war when WWF Raw went head to head with WCW Nitro during the Monday Night Wars. And Triple H became an anti face and got a lot of pops and a lot of positive crowd reactions during his time as leader of DX. But, however, as popular as Triple H was, he was never quite on the same level of popularity as Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, and later on, The Rock. Triple H, during this time, he would get the odd occasional world title shot, but he was never really looked at as one of the top guys. He was, as fans always like to say during the Attitude Era, he was mid card at best and was nothing more than Shawn Michaels' sidekick who always used to carry his bags, even going all the way back to the Click days. But Triple H, to his credit, soldiered on and was very popular, but as I said, not quite as popular as the names that I mentioned. So the seeds were planted for this massive heel turn when China turned on DX and joined Vince McMahon's corporation. In other words, she chose money over blood. And during this time, DX and the corporation would go head to head every single week. Triple H and China were at each other's throats, and it seemed like the fans were really behind Triple H. But again, Triple H was not quite at the top guy level. So at WrestleMania 15, China screwed Kane and looked like she had rejoined DX when she and Hunter embraced. On the surface, it looked like that China was back in the fold and DX was back on the same page and more stronger than ever. Later on in the show, during the X-Pac versus Shane McMahon European title match, China came out first to distract the referee. Triple H came in and it looked like he was going to help X-Pac, and then all of a sudden, to the shock of everyone, he delivered a pedigree and helped Shane McMahon retain the European title. And then he would proceed to beat down X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws, thus declaring that he was no longer part of DX and was very much a part of Vince McMahon's corporation. Now, Triple H turning heel was a big surprise to everyone because he pretty much carried DX after Shawn Michaels went into his hiatus, and he was a big part in helping DX get over. Of course, X-Pac, China, and the New Age Outlaws take equal credits for that as well. But Triple H was really the guy who was the one who pretty much led DX to the biggest heights ever. So, why did Triple H turn on DX? Why did he turn on his longtime friends? Now, on the surface, in storyline wise, he wanted to get ahead. He wanted to be the top guy. Makes perfect sense. Behind the scenes, Triple H felt that DX had run its course, and he knew that there was no way he was ever going to be as popular as Stone Cold and The Rock. So he went in another direction. Triple H decided that he was going to be the most hated wrestler in the company and become the biggest heel in the wrestling business. So Triple H completely changed his character. Gone was the goofy prankster who was always making fans laugh and getting ladies to flash their breasts on TV. Triple H was all business and he wanted one thing, the WWF title, and he didn't care how he was going to get it, just as long as he did. Now, for those of you who have followed Triple H's career since coming into the WWF, Triple H, for most of his run, was actually a heel, although not the kind of heel that we'll all come to know him as. But he did start out as a heel when he debuted in 1995 as the Greenwich Blue Blooded Snob, and he was a heel when he hooked up with Shawn Michaels to form DX. But if you look very closely, his character was slowly changing. He was moving away from being the blue blooded snob and was becoming more vicious in the ring and started talking more trash. And he was definitely getting more and more arrogant and confident in his abilities. Now, when Triple H turned heel at WrestleMania 15, he went in another direction. Now, when he was with Shawn Michaels in the original DX run, he was still a heel, but he wasn't quite the monster that we would come to know him as. Triple H completely changed his whole look, soaked his hair, started to grow a big beard, and really started to get in monster shape. Now, I'm not saying Triple H was in bad shape when he was leading DX. He was still in good shape, but he was a little bit soft, in a nice way to put it. When he was in the corporation, he definitely got more leaner, he got more violent, much more aggressive, and was definitely a key player in the corporation, later the corporate ministry. But he was still not quite there yet. But you could definitely see Triple H was transitioning into the game, but he just didn't make it official just yet. It wasn't until July 25th, 1999, on Sunday Night Heat, just before Fully Loaded 99, Triple H sat down for a shoot interview with Jim Ross and pretty much spoke from the heart that he was sick and tired of being held back. He felt that he didn't need to be in the clique anymore, he didn't need to be in DX anymore, and simply went on to say it was his time. And for the first time ever, he declared himself as the game, and the rest is history. Now, during this time leading up to his transformation into the game, he would clash with The Rock, he would clash with Stone Cold, he would clash with The Undertaker, he would butt heads with Mick Foley, Kane, Big Show, you name it. Triple H was not looking to make friends with anyone. He was on a mission to be the best and to win the WWF title. Now, I've been watching wrestling for a really long time, and I can't think of anyone in the Attitude Era, except maybe Vince McMahon, who was more hated than Triple H. He got absolute nuclear heat to the point that fans would actually pay money to see someone kill him. That's how hated Triple H was. And what more can you say, really? Triple H was, in my opinion, the perfect heel for the faces to feud with every single week. Vince McMahon was the man you love to hate. Triple H, on the other hand, he was just a guy you just flat out despised. And he was perfect, absolutely perfect. And he would go on to win the WWF title when he defeated Mankind the night after SummerSlam 99. I still think that he should have won it at SummerSlam, but it is what it is. And then Triple H would go on an absolute tear. He would just tear through every single opponent in his way, and he didn't care how he was going to get to the top, just as long as he was on the top. And he was just a monster heel. He really, really was. And the thing that made Triple H such a good heel was he was so good at being the bad guy. You almost forgot that he was just a character. Everything felt so real, it felt so genuine, and he really made it work. But his best work wouldn't come just yet. Triple H would feud with Vince McMahon in a menacingly personal war over Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H would drug Stephanie and marry her, thus leaving Test at the altar looking like a fool. And then Stephanie would betray her father and side with Triple H as the two of them would run the company and drive the boss out of the very business that he helped create. Now, this is where I really felt Triple H came into his own as a heel. With Stone Cold and The Undertaker out of action, Triple H pretty much ran the whole business. Nobody could touch him. He was an unstoppable heel. And with DX by his side and Stephanie McMahon as his wife on his side, there was nobody who could touch Triple H. He was essentially the kingpin of wrestling. No one would dare try to cross Triple H. Few would try to step up to him. Some would succeed, but ultimately, most wouldn't. And during this time in 2000, he retired Mick Foley. He would screw The Rock out of numerous big moments. You name it, Triple H was unstoppable as a heel. As great as he was in 99, I really felt he came into his own in 2000 and he had some excellent matches against everyone. From Backlash to Judgment Day against The Rock, the Last Man Standing match against Chris Jericho at Fully Loaded, No Mercy 2000 against Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle at Unforgiven 2000. Triple H was just having 5-star match after 5-star match. How can we forget the street fight against Mick Foley at Royal Rumble 2000, followed up by the Hell in a Cell match at No Way Out 2000, which I mentioned already is where he retired. Mick Foley successfully defended the WWF title in the main event at WrestleMania 2000, thus becoming the first heel to successfully retain his title. There was no stopping Triple H. There really wasn't. And I would say the best match Triple H had in 2000. For me, it can go either way. It's a tie between Mick Foley at the Royal Rumble 2000 in the street fight or the Iron Man match against The Rock at Judgment Day. Any of those matches could be a number one for me. But the surprises wouldn't stop there. Now, during this time, Triple H unofficially turned into a babyface when he started feuding with Kurt Angle over, you named it, Stephanie McMahon. And he got a lot of cheers, mainly because fans were just sick and tired of Kurt Angle's stupid behaviour, and they really started to respect Triple H. But Triple H, being the sly snake that he is, reminded everyone that he is indeed the game when he was revealed to be the mastermind behind Stone Cold getting run over at Survivor Series 99. And Triple H just got radioactive heat. I said earlier he got nuclear heat. Well, after being revealed as the guy who took out Stone Cold, he got radioactive heat. And Triple H would continue his dominance all the way into 2001. He had a violent feud against Stone Cold, which culminated in a classic 2 out of 3 falls match. That's No Way Out 2001. He had a great underrated match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 17. He and Stone Cold would join forces to form the two-man power trip and essentially took out The Rock. Feuded with Undertaker and Kane. Triple H was on a roll, but unfortunately in May 2001 he tore his quad and he would be out of action for essentially 8 months. So the decision for Triple H to turn on DX and turn heel, to me, it's probably the best decision he ever made. I mean, would he have been world champion if he was still the leader of DX? It's very hard to say. Probably not, because if he was going to be world champion, it probably would have happened already, but it didn't. So for Triple H to turn heel, turn on DX, essentially go the complete opposite direction, not have the positive reactions, but get the negativity from the fans, in a sense, to get ahead, it worked perfectly. And in terms of the success and failures of Triple H's heel run from 99 to 2001, a complete success. No question. An absolute complete success. As far as failures are concerned, there were a couple of matches that maybe Triple H shouldn't have won. WrestleMania 2000 definitely comes to mind. That should have been The Rock's night. I really felt that Rock was hot by that point. He won the Royal Rumble. Yes, there was a bit of controversy around it, but still goes in the history books that Rock won the Rumble, and he should have got his big moments. Yes, he got his big moments at Backlash, but just imagine if he got his big moments at WrestleMania 2000. Would have been unbelievable. That's my only issue with Triple H, that maybe he should have put The Rock over at WrestleMania 2000. And another one that I had a big issue with was the love triangle with Hunter, Angle, and Stephanie was really getting hot. And from my understanding, I read somewhere that the original idea was to have Stephanie turn on Hunter and go with Angle. That would have been an amazing twist. Apparently, depending on who you ask and who you believe, Triple H pulled the plug on the feud before it could really start to hit its peak, which is a shame, really, because I really felt that everyone was hitting their stride. They were pulling in some big numbers, and just maybe if it just lasted another month, we could have had a red hot Angle, no pun intended. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be. But aside from those little issues that I had, yeah, his whole heel run was a complete success. One confusing moment I would have to bring up is, why did Triple H win the 2 out of 3 falls match? It should have been Austin, especially as he won the Rumble. He was going to face The Rock. You would have thought maybe they would have Austin win to make him look stronger, but maybe that's what added to Austin's heel turn. It's desperation, doubting himself, but hey ho, what are you going to do? But overall, Hunter's heel run from 99 to 2001, a complete success. Nothing bad to say about it whatsoever, apart from those little issues that I mentioned. From leading DX to becoming a 3-time champion, the biggest heel in the company, marrying the boss's daughter. Oh, yeah, he did it all, and he did it all very well. But yeah, an absolute complete success. Nothing more to say about that, really. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. Do you agree with me? Do you think Triple H's heel run from 99 to 2001 was a complete success, or do you think it was a complete failure? What was your favourite feud during this heel run? Was it against Mick Foley in 2000? His war against The Rock in 2000? What did you think of his feuds against Austin? Did you enjoy them? How did you react to Triple H and Stephanie getting married? Do you think that helped put him over as a heel, or do you think maybe it did more to hurt his heel turn? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.